original podcast fra AAU. Velkommen til Innovators Club. Rigtig god fornøjelse med dagens episode.
Velkommen til det her afsnit. Du skal nu høre et interview med Massimo Pizzol, og han er professor på det danske Center for Miljøvurdering på Aalborg Universitet. Det her afsnit er en del af en serie, der fokuserer på forskning og initiativer, der arbejder på at skabe en mere miljøvenlig infrastruktur, og hvordan vi kan reducere vores påvirkning af miljøet. Vi vil gerne finde ud af, hvordan vi kan skabe en mere bæredygtig og grønnere fremtid for vores planet. Mit navn er Liselotte Forsgaard, og jeg er glad for, at du har valgt at lytte med i dag. Det er mig, der har produceret det her afsnit, og podcasten er redigeret i samarbejde med Annette Sønderby. Mads Storm Andersen fra AAU og jeg tog på tur til Aalborg for at mødes med Massimo på Aalborg Universitet. Men det, der er fedt ved ham, han forsker rigtig meget i laptop og end-user devices og cirkulær økonomi, så han har også hardware-delen. Det var 14, ikke? Det var det, jeg sagde. I will be in room 3rd floor.
Jeg er booket.
Okay, fint.
Yeah, hi. My name is Massimo Pizzol, and I'm a professor here at the Department of Planning, Aalborg University. And my background is environmental science, and I have a PhD in planning. And my work has been, in the last 10 years, has been in the study of and assessment of the environmental impact of products. I work specifically with the technique called life cycle assessment of products, where you compile a sort of inventory of all the material and energy requirements of a product, and that over the life cycle, and then try to calculate a sort of overall impact for this product and try to investigate what are the trade-offs across this life cycle. Mm-hmm. So if you save energy and when you make improvements for the product, what will be the effect over the entire life cycle? So if we make, for example, an electronic device more energy efficient, when in the use stage you use less energy, and this saves some emissions, maybe. But maybe in order to make this device more effective, more efficient, you need to use some other types of materials, maybe. And this requires maybe more energy instead in the sourcing of these materials, and then emissions fare. Or maybe this makes the device more complex to recycle, and then you have a trade-off. Mm. So you have saved something in one stage, but you have created a problem, or let's say, or a trade-off with another stage in this sort of life cycle. Life cycle is from when the raw materials are extracted to make the product until the product is then reaches a sort of end of life, where you might recycle it or dispose of it or reuse it as well. But yeah. In this area of electronics, I've been working, for example, with Bitcoin mining.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had a project on called Sustainable Blockchain Technologies.
Okay.
And we was a very actual topic back 3-4 years ago, and we had this project funded by the Danish Research Council when we looked into this blockchain technology and what it was and what were sustainability aspects of it. And one part of this research was actually looking into Bitcoin mining and the environmental impact thereof, because this is one of the main applications and also the most controversial, environmentally speaking, let's say. So we looked into that, and we made a model of all the energy consumption and this Bitcoin network.
Okay, and when we talk about blockchain,
mm-hmm.
How is that energy-wise?
Yeah, well, in the case of a Bitcoin network, is extremely energy demanding.
Yeah.
Have some research been made after the kind of the Bitcoin boom is over, or the kind of there's a crash now, and a lot of Bitcoin miners have stopped. They're close to reaching the end of the Bitcoin, I guess. But also legislation, and even China has banned it. So there must be a huge fall, or is it just something we are perceiving that there's a fall? Or
well, I don't know if I'm qualified to answer on what happens in the Bitcoin market, but the attention to the environmental issues from the research board and a lot of other stakeholders is still there, because there are still a lot of these miners active, of course. Then I don't know if you can call it the end, because it's been going up and down, very swinging very much the value and the attention. So right now we are in a downturn, let's say, but yeah, I think there's been the latest attention has been like, when was it, last year, when Ethereum, the other blockchain, one of the biggest ones, they shifted to another proof of to this proof of stake, and this has supposedly reduced the energy consumption substantially. Though the last time I checked, nobody really made a sort of real calculation of this. It's just there are some simple ones around, but not any thorough study as far as I know. But this was some months ago.
Massimo Pizzol fortæller os om den stigende digitalisering og det øgede forbrug af enheder, såsom mobiltelefoner og computere. Han siger, at vores samfund bliver værre og værre til at bruge de her enheder, og de holder i kortere og kortere tid, hvilket fører til øget produktion og dermed øget energiforbrug. Det understreger vigtigheden af at se på hele livscyklusen af teknologi, fra produktion til brug og bortskaffelse, for at identificere områder, hvor vi kan reducere vores påvirkning på miljøet og klimaet.
In the sense that I've not been doing a study on this, but my take is that if you can prolong the lifetime of a device by minimal interventions like changing a part, then this generally is favorable, environmentally speaking, because if you use the models like we do, the lifetime is a key parameter. So the impact that you generate in your lifetime, the impact that you generate per function you provide, for example, 1 minute of computing, depends also on the lifetime of the item. So the longer lifetime, the more minutes you can compute. So the lower the impact per minute. Of course, there is a little trade-off because you need to produce the additional element, but this is always typically lower than reproducing the entire device. The problem I hear is that sometimes in this, especially in computers and IT, they get old very easily in terms of either they get like in a data center, in a server, they get consumed literally, so you can't really just change a part, you need to have a new one, or they get technologically old, so that they sell new ones that are much better and more powerful and more efficient, and this will mean a larger economic return for the owners of the servers, and therefore they don't have an incentive in shifting, even if and maybe. And that's where maybe there is even a trade-off that the energy that you save with the new machine is environmental. You get a higher benefit than if you had shifted the part of the old one. And this is very difficult to evaluate. Yes.
When you calculate the lifetime of an item, let's just say a laptop or personal PC, and let's say now I'm done using it, and then some of the vendors are starting. Well, we refurbish them and send them into the underdeveloped country, which I think is a very good idea, so they can get hopefully on the same standard that we are.
Yes.
But after it has been used down there, then what? Then it's outside of our scope, and then the calculation shouldn't be. Now it has been refurbished and reused, and so that's a zero. It should actually, we don't know where it's going, so shouldn't it be calculated as a unknown or something instead of just a zero?
No, absolutely. You need to include this in your calculation, because even if you refurbish it, at some point, this machine is going to not work anymore, and something will happen with that, and this something. What happens when really you can't refurbish it anymore? You can't reuse it. You can't. So you have to either dismantle it and take the parts that you need, or it would be disposed in some way. Either they burn it or they dump it. And this has to be taken into account, of course, in a full life cycle study. So the difficult part is maybe if you don't know how it's going to be done and where, because this example you mentioned, if you export the refurbished product, you export it to another country where you're not really sure of their type of waste management practices there, then you have an unknown in your. It's very difficult to model what happens there.
I interviewet taler vi om livscyklusen af produkter og genanvendelse. Mens nogle virksomheder hævder at have høj grad af genanvendelighed, er der behov for mere transparens og dokumentation i forhold til at validere de her påstande. Det er vigtigt at uddanne virksomheder og forbrugere omkring livscyklusen af produkter for at takle udfordringen med udledning af CO2 og forurening. Problematikken med at bortskaffe teknologi kan sammenlignes med at afhænde store skibe på stranden i udlandet, hvor der kan være en stor forurening af miljøet, hvis det ikke håndteres ordentligt. Det er vigtigt at have fokus på hele produktets livscyklus. Men desværre kan virksomheder også forsøge at skjule deres miljøbelastning ved hjælp af greenwashing. Der prøver de at give indtryk af at være mere bæredygtige, end de reelt er. Så kan det være svært for forbrugerne at gennemskue, hvilket gør det endnu vigtigere at have klare og troværdige standarder for den miljømæssige påvirkning for teknologi.
Let's be honest, there is a lot of greenwashing everywhere nowadays, and this could be one aspect of it, that you claim something, but maybe potentially this product can be recycled, but if the system is not in place, because potentially it's made of, I don't know, you have 4 or 5 different components easily dismantleable, and of material of rather homogeneous quality, so 3 types of plastics and 1 circuit board and 1 piece of metal, I don't know, and this can be relatively easily separated in theory and sent to different recycling pathways in theory. Then you are in theory 90% recyclable. And in practice, if this happens, it's a different story, because a lot of IT devices we did actually some research on electronic waste some years ago, especially on plastic. It's a very growing fraction in Europe and worldwide, and the way it is managed, this waste is very crude in a way. I mean, it's not, people are not there unmounting computers. They are shredding the material and extracting the cables, the copper, the main parts, and a lot of it, a lot of plastic and a lot of other things are just either sent to burning and some metal sent to melting together. But it's a very coarse separation. I mean, because there are a lot of quantities, and some of them are very complex. So there's no resources to have people simply dismantling computers and televisions and radios, whatever. Yeah.
Massimo taler om nutidens enheder, såsom mobiltelefoner og computer, at de ofte er designet til at blive forældet og ubrugelige på relativt kort tid. Og det skaber en stor mængde affald og spild. Der skal være en måde at genbruge eller genanvende de her enheder på, for der er et behov for en balance mellem levetid og affald. Producenterne skal tage et større ansvar for at designe produkter med genbrug og genanvendelse i tankerne. Vi taler med Massimo om, at måden, at vi gør det på, er at opkræve en ekstra afgift i prisen for produkterne, som vil dække omkostninger ved at gøre dem genbrugelige eller genanvendelige. Der er virksomheder, der allerede nu tager initiativ til at genbruge og renovere brugte enheder, såsom computer, server og telefoner. Cirkulær økonomi er en anden metode til at løse udfordringen med at fremme genanvendelse og genbrug af produkter. I en cirkulær økonomi designes produkter med genanvendelse og genbrug i tankerne, og de materialer, der bruges i produktet, kan let adskilles og genanvendes.
Right now, we have a center here called the Center for Cirkulær Økonomi, and we are starting looking into the issue of value. So when your products start to losing value, and how can you maintain this value as long as possible? And for the IT technology parts, I think is a good example, because as I mentioned before, you have a lot of variability. There's a lot of devices and there are different issues in each of them. But one thing that I think is interesting is when Software makes hardware obsolete, like the case you were mentioning before, because this can be very radical. So suddenly, because of a change in software, a lot of hardware you cannot be used, and this is a lot of waste. So this is very interesting for me. Another thing that I think is the issue of the data centers, as you mentioned, because there's a growing of these centers, and they are very energy intensive, and sometimes the way, of course, these people are starting also realizing they have to kind of pay attention to the environment and give a green image, but sometimes the way this is done is not the right way. Like for example, if you place a data center in a country where you have a lot of renewable energy, like Denmark, it doesn't make you necessarily green because you're still contributing to more energy consumption. Still, of course, it's more green, but the one if you increase just the load of energy in a specific place without building new capacity, you're just shifting the energy consumption into some sources of non-renewable somewhere else, because the ones that you use, somebody else is not able to use. So somehow this has to be accompanied by investments, not in directly new capacity, not just claiming you're green because you went in a place where you already had a green network.
Når det kommer til datacentre, kan man hævde, at man bruger grøn energi, men det er ikke altid tilfældet, for de grønne certifikater fungerer ikke altid som forventet. Derfor er det også vigtigt, at vi i Danmark fortsat fokuserer på at lave grøn energi for at imødekomme det stigende behov på grund af for eksempel flere elbiler. Det samme gælder, når vi taler om datacentre. Datacentrene er kendt for at forbruge store mængder af energi, og derfor er det også vigtigt at fokusere på bæredygtige og energieffektive løsninger, som er tænkt ind fra starten for at mindske den samlede miljøpåvirkning for infrastrukturen.
But I think data centers are an interesting thing also for this lifetime issue we were discussing before, because for consumer devices, the lifetime is very spread, So what is the impact of a computer is really uncertain a bit, because you don't know really how much people are going to use it. You can go on average use, but in the data centers, they must have more precise data there, because it's the same devices. They know they are used only for one purpose, more or less, and they must have a better control on, for example, the Bitcoin miners, which is a type of data center in a way. It's a place with a lot of machines running all the time. They knew very well how long is the time for one of these machines before they have to change it.
One of the issues could also be that if you are building a new hyperscale data center, you probably have a very good efficiency, and you have very little overhead, and that of course saves you some energy, which in the sense will be a footprint. But then again, it also give us access to more data centers, so we are able to do more, and we're able to stream more.
Exactly.
So how is that calculated? Yeah. Because it can be a net gain, because we can do a lot of good things that could save the environment, because we have a lot of processing power. But it could also mean that I'll be lying on my couch and seeing Netflix for 10 hours instead of 5 hours a day.
Or 4 devices.
Exactly.
This is exactly this rebound effect, that you make things more efficient, but then you use more of it, and then you have cancelled out this initial gain. It's very difficult to get a way out of that technologically, because this is the situation where technology doesn't work, because this is it's a social thing. I don't know, to be honest. The only solution I can think is that you have to change the mindset. But we are also very accustomed nowadays that things are cheap. Energy and resources is not something we deal with on a daily basis. If you were living 150 years ago, you will have, you will feel probably the constraints of your resources much stronger than we do here in the West. In a very developed society, we can have everything we want. And it's not a big problem to stream more because it will cost me a bit more in the electricity bill, but it's marginal, right? So you don't feel it too much, and this means you are not going to reduce it. But it could be reduced. I mean, we have seen now with the energy crisis and everything, people have started being more attentive to this. There is this app now, you can look at the energy of the price all the time and the use when it's less cheap, less costly.
2 days ago, I got installed a heat pump.
Thank you. Bye. Den her podcast har jo været et stykke tid undervejs. Det har ikke bare været en optagelse, redigering, udgivelse. Der har jo været masser af overvejelser bag, og det er der faktisk også efterfølgende med den her podcast.
Ja, fordi alt er jo nemt, når vi talte om det til at starte med, jamen vi skal stille nogle spørgsmål, og så skal vi ud og hjem, og det er så det. Men jeg synes, hver gang man stiller et spørgsmål, og der kommer et svar, så får jeg 2 nye spørgsmål, jeg kunne tænke mig at stille. Og omvendt, så når vi har snakket med de forskere, også Massimo netop, fordi vi snakker det der cirkulære økonomi, som egentlig er lidt flyvskt, men som også er sådan en god ting, der runder af, så får jeg en masse spørgsmål. Hvordan kan man gøre det? Kan vi ændre nogle ting anderledes? Eller hvordan snakker vi sammen? Hvordan kommunikerer vi sammen? Og det er jo helt det der, når det der cirkulære, det er jo noget, der ligesom skal hænge sammen, og der er ikke rigtig en start på det, der er ikke rigtig en slutning på det, men det er noget, der ligesom driver sig selv. Det synes jeg var super interessant, for det gør jo, at det giver mig et indsigt i, at jamen, altså, vi er ikke færdige med at snakke om det her. Det er noget, der kommer til at ændre sig, og noget, der kommer til at udvikle sig de næste rigtig mange år, drevet både af behov, men også måske af nysgerrighed.
Ja, og nogle ting, jeg tager med mig, det er den der politiske ledelse, kunne være rigtig fint. Nogen, der sætter en retning og nogle rammer. Og noget andet er også den her certificeringsproces, altså at der skulle være en standard, så vi kan sammenligne både hardware og software helt fuldstændig transparent.
Ja, det er også super interessant, fordi det er jo en standard for noget, som egentlig er lidt fluffy, lidt udefinerbart. Og det kan også gøre, at vi lige pludselig netop kan måle noget, som før var umåleligt. Og det vil sige, så er der igen måske endnu flere områder, vi kan åbne op for, som kan gøre noget ved vores aftryk, energiaftryk, energiforbrug, som vi ikke har tænkt over før. Fordi lige pludselig så er der nye områder, hvor vi ligesom kan se, jamen hey, hvis vi begynder at bruge ting anderledes, hvis vi begynder at arbejde sammen på en anden måde, hvis vi begynder at kommunikere på en tredje måde, så betyder det noget. Og det er ikke bare det med, at vi skal sortere affald, men det kan være den måde, vi arbejder sammen på, den måde, vi som mennesker interagerer med hinanden på.
Jamen Mads, måske det er et meget godt tidspunkt at slutte det her afsnit med Massimo på. Altså, vi har nået et stykke vej, vi har i hvert fald undersøgt en del, men der er selvfølgelig flere ting, vi kan gøre.
Ja, jeg synes, det er super interessant, og jeg tror også, det vi kan lære af det her, det er jo, at vi nok aldrig kommer i mål, for målstregen flytter sig hele tiden, men vi kan i hvert fald forsøge i biler eller ej at køre derhen af, og så se, hvor vi lander næste gang.
Yes, så tusind tak, Mads.
Velbekomme.
Det her er slutningen på interviewet med Massimo Pizzol. Men podcastserien stopper ikke her. Der er flere afsnit af den her serie på samme kanal, og dem kan du høre allerede nu. Og hvis du nu sidder og tænker, jamen der mangler der en vigtig pointe, eller du har en rigtig god historie, eller du har et input, vi mangler, eller har kommentar til den her podcast, så må du meget gerne kontakte mig eller Arrow. Mit navn er Liselotte Forsgaard, og jeg vil gerne sige dig stort tak, fordi du har lyttet med.
Husk, du kan finde links og mere materiale i podcastens episodebeskrivelse. Tak fordi du lyttede med. Ha' en skøn dag.